Economic Opportunity Subcommittee, Ms. Herseth Sandlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your testimony today. Congratulations again on your recent appointment, and thank you for your many years of military service. It was a pleasure to meet with you last week, and as others have done, extend the invitation to you once again, as I did last week, to South Dakota, understanding that the summer months would be preferable than the dead of winter in South Dakota. But I want to reiterate just a couple of items that we discussed and bring two others to your attention. We did talk about the post-GI Bill, post-9/11 GI Bill in the August 2009 deadline, and as we work to achieve that goal, as you know, next week, or excuse me, the week of February 26th, the Economic Opportunity Subcommittee will be having a hearing to evaluate both the short-term and long-term goals and where those timetables are and the strategies for implementing the new Veterans Education benefits. And we also discussed the VA Facility Leasing Initiative. Community-based outreach clinics, as you know, and Mr. Michaud pointed out, are so important to highly rural areas, advanced funding, as well as the Women Veterans Healthcare Improvement Act. And I appreciated your comments and thoughts on a variety of issues, including the PTSD conversation that we had last week as well. Two other issues that I wanted to bring to your attention are long-term care and the polytrauma rehabilitation centers within the VA health system. The number of veterans 85 or older is projected to increase 110% between 2000 and 2020. Estimates indicate that this number will peak in 2012. And I believe meeting the long-term health care needs of our nation's veterans is one of the most important and difficult challenges facing the VA today. And I hope that you and your staff will work with this committee as we develop a comprehensive strategic plan for long-term care. The other issue, as you know, with the polytrauma rehabilitation centers and the important work that they've been doing, particularly in working with our wounded warriors from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan that have produced thousands of severely wounded active duty service members and veterans. Many of the veterans receive treatment at one of these four centers, and for the most part these centers are providing extraordinary care. The VA, however, I think needs to develop guidelines that ensure that the polytrauma centers aren't prematurely moving patients out of the centers and into long-term care before they reach optimal function, given that individual's potential through rehabilitation. And my opinion stems from an experience that one of my constituents had. He received a traumatic brain injury from an IED in December of 2005 in Iraq. And he was informed that he would be transferred out of the Minneapolis Polytrauma Center and into a long-term care facility before his family believed he had received the level of rehabilitative care that he deserved. And I agreed with them. And at the time, based on my conversations with the family, their terrible experience with the caseworker that was assigned to them at the time, and my concerns that this was another perhaps budget issue because the Department of Defense wasn't paying because he was still active duty. And the Polytrauma Center basically said if he hasn't achieved a certain level after 90 days, we're moving him. And we were able to intervene with the Army and worked with the VA as well and got him into a private rehabilitation center. And this constituent made dramatic improvement in a matter of weeks that he hadn't been making in the Polytrauma Center in Minneapolis. And he's now been able to return home and improves his functioning every week and every month. And so I just wanted to bring this issue to your attention in terms of the importance of those guidelines, that we're not giving up on many of these vulnerable young men and women and prematurely moving them into long-term care based on some fairly arbitrary standards that I think this particular family that I represent was dealing with at the time. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.